Here we go. Let's get to information about the NMAT exam and everything. There are going to be two parts to it. First is this presentation. Then I will be completing my NMAT application and showing you how grades and everything are to be selected and everything. So let's get to it. The NMAT exam is primarily used for admission into NMIMS Mumbai, Narsi Munji. It is one of the best B schools in India. At the same time, if you were to compare NMIMS to a comparable B school under the umbrella of, let's say, CAT, you would perhaps land at somewhere close to IMT Ghaziabad. So it is not at NDI level, it is not at SPJ and FMS level, of course. It is at MDI level, lower than MDI level. Yet, understand, because NMIMS is compared to the other B schools that it is competing with, it is not a bad level, it is an excellent level. It is as good as, let's say, an IIT Kanpur, for instance. It is still an IIT, it's a great B school too. Okay. Now, NMIMS, the primary B school that you're applying to for NMAT, only accepts the first attempt of NMAT. You can take NMAT 3 times. You can take NMAT 3 times, but it only accepts the first NMAT score. The other B schools that accept the subsequent scores of NMAT, I will inform of later. But understand, if NMIMS is the only B school that you're applying to via NMAT, then NMIMS accepts only the first score that you get, or retake scores are allowed. Candidates are supposed to register for NMIMS before NMAT. And this is one of the biggest errors that people make. They register for NMAT and then they go to the NMIMS website and then they forget registering for the college. The exam registration is separate. The college registration is separate. The exam registration, the NMAT registration, NMIMS registration is separate. You have to pay at both these places. You have to do both these steps before you take your NMAT. For example, if NMAT is scheduled on 20th October, the candidate is required to register on or before 19th October. One wonderful thing, this cycle, the NMAT date timelines have pretty much gone for a toss. I mean, the dates have become very, very bad. Dates have become extremely close together. So we'll also talk of what needs to happen there. For other NMAT accepting institutes, students may submit the best of multiple attempts. So if you've taken 3 attempts or 2 attempts, multiple attempts, whichever is your best score, that will be used for admission process at the other colleges. Okay. NMAT 2024 overview. There are the NMAT registration and the school application process are 2 separate steps. You need to complete both these. Now, you get to select 5 options in the NMAT website, where you can go on to select which B schools you want your scores sent to. Beyond 5, you will need to pay additional money, but you will not go beyond 5 most likely, because a lot of B schools on the list are B schools based out of Angola and Nigeria and other countries. In low-level B schools are mentioned there. So, right. Additionally, just because you selected a particular B school on the NMIMS website, that does not necessarily translate into you don't need to go to those colleges separately and apply again. You will also need to do that. There are 2 modes in which you can take the test. You can either go to a test center or online proctored. You can take it from home. My own personal preference is always take it at a center, because for online proctored, historical experiences suggest that if your internet connection is not very good, or maybe there is some camera issue, maybe your laptop is hanging, some sort of error comes up, what the NMAT authorities do is they cancel your attempt for that time, and it's not like they refund your money. Everything is gone. Everything is absolutely gone. So, in order to avoid such a situation, prefer going to a test center. Of course, there may be some of us based out of not so affluent cities, and NMAT centers may not be available there. In such a case, you can happily go on to take an online proctored one. But if you're taking the online proctored mode, as in you'll be sitting at home, they will ask you to turn on your camera, move your laptop around to see that there is nobody else in the room apart from you. There are no devices around you. All that jazz you would have to do. But if possible, always prefer going to a test center instead of an online proctored mode, because in online proctored mode, the experience has been terrible for people who take it, because very often something goes bad. In the test center, if something goes bad, they can shift you to another seat. They can send you to some other place. The onus of successful conduct of the test lies on the NMAT authorities. For online proctored, you are made responsible. Rescheduling is allowed in the same mode. Retake is allowed in a different way. Now, rescheduling, understand, NMAT asks you money for rescheduling and asks you money for retake. Both of these cost extra. And for every attempt that you take, it costs you 3,540. And for every rescheduling that you do, it costs you around 1,900 plus GST. So 19 into 18 would be 342. So 2,142. For every rescheduling, it costs you 2,142. For every retake, it costs you 3,540. So I would recommend the date that you take, select the date that you end up choosing on which you want to appear for NMAT. Make sure that is the date you take it on. Don't spend unnecessarily more. The good thing about this test is the score is available immediately after the test. In a lot of other tests, you take the test and then there is a waiting period of around 1 month, 15 days, 20 days, whatever. Here, instantly after the exam, a score will be displayed. Now, after that score is displayed, after some time, within 48 hours, the official scorecard will also be available on your dashboard on the NMAT website. Most likely, the score that gets displayed and the score that is your official final score remains the same. Sometimes there may be a deviation of 1 or 2 marks because they've done some sort of adjustment to reflect your score more accurately. Otherwise, the score that gets displayed at the end is the final score that you get at the in the official scorecard as well. Now, the pattern of the test. There are 36 questions. There are 3 sections. Each of the sections have 36 questions. The section is language skills. And you have 28 minutes. And the score that you get here is in the range of 12 to 120. The wonderful thing is a lot of fill in the blank questions, a lot of simple questions that require less than 20 seconds for you to answer is at preposition based fill in the blanks. Lots of word meanings, analogy, lots of simple questions are there. And therefore, doing 36 questions within a 28-minute time span is not that difficult. Then in quantitative skills, you have DI based and quant based. Both things are included here. You have DI and quant based, both the things included here. You have 36 minutes and you have 36 questions for within 52 minutes. The score range remains the same. In the logical reasoning section, you have LR questions and you also have CR questions. When I say CR, I mean language-based reasoning. Which of the following is a strong assumption? Which of the following could be a course of action? Which is a valid inference, not a valid inference? All those sorts of things come within the logical reasoning section. In language skills, only simple RCs and simple VA questions are there. The CR portion gets asked within the logical reasoning section. You have 36 questions. You have 40 minutes for them. This is the time split. It is a 120-minute test and 108. Hopefully, you can also see that the scoring, therefore, the scoring here is going to be a little wonky because for 36 questions, even if somebody gets the maximum of 120, how can you get 120 when there are 36? Because every question is not marked identically. Not every question carries the same mark. The test is adaptive. What it means is it will start off everybody at an easy level. If you get it right, the next question will be of a higher difficulty. Higher difficulty and also more marks. So let's say I have attempted 36 questions in the language skill sections and I've gotten 28 correct. And a friend of mine has also gotten 28 correct. But both of us will not receive the identical score because maybe I did the basic low-level questions correctly, and whenever it got to a difficult level, I got it wrong. And my friend, he did difficult level questions correctly. And for the easy, let's say, there are cycles. In this cycle, there were 3 questions: easy, moderate, difficult, easy, moderate, difficult, so on and so forth. So my split of questions was, whenever it came to difficult questions, I've done 28 correctly. So I've got like 16 easy and 12 moderate and 0 difficult done. Versus my friend is done 12 easy and 12 moderate and 4 difficult. So my friend will end up getting a higher score. The split of how many moderate, how many difficult, how many easy you've done correctly, that will not be available to you after the exam. But no, just because you've gotten identical number of correct answers, that does not mean you will get an identical score. Unlike CAT or other entrance exams, where the number of questions you get correct directly corresponds to the score that you end up. Here, different questions have different weightages attached with them. And they start off everyone at the easy level. They start off everyone at the easy level. If you get it right, then a higher difficulty question comes. Then a higher difficulty question comes. Unlike CAT, there is no on-screen calculator. Unlike CAT, there is no on-screen calculator. So you have to be very, very, as in conversant with basic calculation skills. Additionally, I forgot to add, because this test is adaptive, you cannot progress, you cannot move forward unless you have answered the previous question. You cannot move forward unless you have answered the previous question. There is no option to skip the question. This seems too difficult, I will skip it. So that does not happen. You have to answer every question. Then there are sectional and overall cutoffs for NMIMS, the primary B school for which we are applying via this exam. Now the different cutoffs out of 360 marks. Last year, the cutoff was 234 for the Mumbai campus. And then in the Mumbai campus, we have other courses as well. There is business analytics, there is digital transformation, there is pharmaceutical management. And then we have in Bangalore campus, Navi Mumbai campus, Hyderabad campus, and Indore campus. Now within these, this is the course that is revered. This is the course that is that people love and people want to get into, because this has the best placement stats. This has the best industry link up, but all the other courses are also reasonable. Between them, yes, Indore out of the lot is the worst, but then Indore is a lot better than a lot of rando B schools. The cutoff for 2022 was something along these lines. Cutoff for 2021 was something along these lines. Cutoff for 2020 was something along these lines. These numbers are good, but understand overall from these numbers, what you can infer is for a decent chance at conversion into NMIMS, a target score of 240 plus is needed. Anything under 240, it is in dicey territory. It's not like you cannot convert it, but it is a dicey territory in just because these are the absolute minimum scores that you need in order to land an interview. These are absolute minimum scores in order to land an interview. And for NMIMS, they have in the final reckoning, they have a 70% weightage on your NMAT score. So anyone who ends up getting a very, very good score, anyone who ends up getting a very, very good score in the entrance test ends up having a much better chance than most other people. So somebody who has, let's say, a 270 plus NMAT score, somebody who has a 270 plus NMAT score, and while it is not common, but it is definitely possible. Somebody who has a 270 plus NMAT score, that person will most likely need to simply turn up for the interview, and his conversion into this college is pretty much guaranteed, because they would need to slap the interviewer or absolutely fumble at every question in order to not get selected into the college. Okay. These numbers are simply there for you to see. Dealing with an adaptive test, score is a function of number of questions correct and the difficulty being in terms of this. Different questions carry different marks and weightage. So it's not like every question is giving you the equal returns. Some questions are going to appear difficult, and therefore you must invest more time on them. Whether you get a question right or wrong determines the difficulty of the next question. This is what is meant by adaptive. You cannot skip a question or review or come back or change your response to an already attempted question. Once you move on from a question, that question is in the past, that is history. Cannot change it at all. That question is, the answer for that question is set. Nothing can be done. Now see, when you're going through this, because people know that every question, as in there is no negative marking or you cannot skip a question. And people have this tendency to, if I have to mark, I will definitely mark the right answer. It may so happen that you are unable to reach the end of the section. Out of 36 questions, you end up at 32 questions only. Remember, the way adaptive tests work, and this is something from GMAT. GMAT is the body that conducts GMAT, and GMAT is also the body that conducts NMAT. In their adaptive formulation, what they've done is, somebody who has done 32 questions and has gotten 28 correct, 4 wrong, and 4 unattempted, versus somebody who has done 36 questions and 28 correct and 8 wrong, this person gets more marks. This person will get more marks. Not reaching the end will have a higher penalty than you getting it wrong. So you make sure that you, even if, let's say you've invested some time in the question and now you realize I'm no closer to reaching the answer, randomly mark some answer and move on. Don't waste time. Don't waste too much time on a particular question, because we are in the mindset, no, I have to get it right. If I don't get it right, what is the point of answering? Additionally, when you're guessing, let's say you are towards the end of your section and you're randomly guessing answers. Let's say 1 or 2 get right out of that randomly. Out of the 7 questions that you randomly guess, 2 questions are right. You get it. Your outcome is much, much better. Not only have you not skipped over any question, 2 random correct have also helped you boost up your score. Please make sure you definitely get to the end of the section. You don't skip over. You don't end up not attempting or not seeing all the questions. Okay. Next, answering higher level questions correctly will yield a higher score than the same number of easy questions correctly. Already talk of that. Avoid going too slow in the beginning. By developing an efficient pace, you won't run out of time and resort to guessing at the end and or making a string of errors. What this means is, see, at the beginning of the test, usually in CAT or in other exams, people have this tendency at the beginning of the section, people are very careful and very meticulous, and I will write all the steps and I will do it properly. And by the end, you are in a frenzy, you are running around to do this, do that. बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत ये कर सकते वो कर सकते इतना NMAT does not give you that luxury. NMAT does not give you that luxury, because if you end up taking too much time in the beginning questions, which are going to be easy. Beginning questions are going to be easy. If you end up taking too much time there, then for the latter difficult questions, which indeed should take more time, there you'll be either making a lot of errors or you will run out of time, both of which are not desirable outcomes. Make sure if you're solving a question, once the allotted time for it or reasonable time for it has passed, or you know right after reading that this is beyond my wheelhouse, I will not be able to answer this question, quickly move on. There is no point in lingering over a question, because somehow, somewhere, some magical instance will happen and somehow I will get to know the answer. That does not happen. Manage time well. The other end of the spectrum is, see, some people linger, and some people take this advice to heart too much that, okay, now that I have to go through these questions very quickly, even if a question deserves some time, let's say you a question you start solving and you realize after 1.5 minutes, you're still half a minute away from the answer or 1 minute away from the answer, but 1.5 minutes are gone. So let me just randomly mark and move. No. Some questions deserve 2 minutes of time of solving. Some questions deserve 2.5 minutes of time of solving, but no question deserves more than 2.5 minutes. So don't be too fast either, but don't be too slow as well. Additionally, during the course of the exam, try to stay away from macro analysis of how you're doing in the test. If you see a lot of questions and you are able to solve them very quickly and correctly, then some people go into a spiral. Oh, it means I am doing so many wrong that I am getting definitely easy questions. So my paper is bad. Or some people go into all the questions are hard, so I must have done enough correct already. So there is no point in me, as in, I shouldn't be rushing, I should be taking my time. Don't do that, because understand the easy and difficult, easy, difficult, whatever the categorization is, while that is, they are doing it at a global level, it is not identical for everyone. What is easy for me may not be easy for you. What is easy for you may not be easy for me. So they have tried to do easy, difficult as per their understanding, but you are only supposed to focus on the question in front of you. For instance, question like this. A, B, C, D, E are 5 out of 12 students in a class. And what if in a test all students got a distinct score? What is the probability that A scored higher than B, but lower than C? A scored higher than B, but lower than C. What is the probability that A scored higher than B and lower than C? Now, for some people, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be difficult. But for me, I know directly the answer here is 1 by 6. Answer here is 1 by 6 because I know regardless of A scored higher than B, I want this order of events for A, B, C, the 3 spots that they're in. It has to be this. So these 3 people can rearrange themselves in 3 factorial ways, out of which only 1 is acceptable. So 1 out of 6 is the answer. But for somebody who is not so comfortable with probability, and if you look at the average data point for the entire population, usually you will find that probability is not a very light topic. So this might end up being a moderate question, or this might end up being a difficult question. But for me, this is insanely easy. On the other hand, there could be some other question that is insanely easy for you, and it is not insanely easy for me. So during the course of the test, please do not go fall into the trap of let me try to identify what is easy, what is not easy, or whether I'm doing well, whether I'm not doing well. I'm getting so many easy questions. It depends on your skill level also. Your skill level is also a function based on which you are able to identify whether the question is easy or not easy. Okay. Within the quant section, the distribution of questions is something like this. We have 36 questions, 52 minutes, numbers, fractions, LCM, HCF, disability, logarithms. See, this paper, unlike CAT, this paper has significant weightage on number systems. This has significant weightage on PNC and probability. You don't get as many PNC and probability questions in CAT. You don't get as many number system questions in CAT. But here, you will get a lot of them. In algebra, equations, inequality, sequences, series, modulus, functions, everything is there. It's not like any topic is excluded. It's not like any topic is excluded. But making a reasonable assessment based on my own experience of taking this exam for past few years, the level of difficulty involved in the questions is not that high. The level of difficulty involved in the question is not as high as CAT. So whatever questions are there, you can pretty much solve. Now, there are 3 DI sets, 4 questions each. There are 3 DI sets, 4 questions each. But the good thing about the DI sets is they're pure DI sets. There is no section of, there is a arrangement based idea along with the DI, or there is a let's say family tree along with something else. It is pure DI, so you have to be very good at estimation, fraction comparisons, estimation or approximation, whatever you choose to call it, and fraction comparison. In fact, fraction comparison, if you're decent at fraction comparison, it will guarantee, regardless of the year that I have appeared in NMAT for, from 2016 to 2024, except for 2020 in between. Sorry, till 2023, except 2020 in between. In every year, one entire set is based on fraction comparison. In which year was the percentage change the greatest? In which year was the ratio of boys to girls the highest? Fraction comparison is an extremely important and critical skill for you to get one DI set. It will definitely get you through. Then data sufficiency is also there. Data sufficiency, hopefully we know what data sufficiency is and what it entails. I just want to ensure that this table does not have any text. Sit. Then in the logical reasoning section, there is verbal reasoning and there is non-verbal reasoning. In verbal reasoning, you will have questions like what is an implicit statement, strong argument, course of action, what would you do in this situation, strengthening, weakening the argument, what is an inference, what is a conclusion, what syllogism, all cats are dogs, all mice are reasoning. Out of 36 questions, it is an even split, 18 questions from this, 18 questions from this. And then you will have grouping, conditionality, input, output, coding, decoding, Venn diagram, family tree, circular arrangement, and this and that. All sorts of LR-based topics get covered here, and a lot of verbal reasoning-based topics also get covered here. Okay. Now, for this verbal ability section, you will have 3 RCs of 4 questions each, and the length of every RC is going to be around 300 to 400 words. Or if there is going to be either every RC will be equally around 300 to 400 words, or you will have one RC with 500 words, and the other 2 are going to be short RCs. 2 RCs with around 50 words. I have seen this split also where every RC is pretty much of the same length, and I have seen one RC being insanely long and the other RCs being insanely short. Then we have parajumbles, we have analogies, closed passages. Hopefully we know what closed passages are. Just simply fill in the blank type of questions. But instead of having one individual sentence, it is all in a paragraph. And then different numbers within the paragraph are highlighted, and you have to find out what comes in the answer there. Therefore, you have closed passages and you have fill in the blanks, meaning of phrase, synonym, antonym, fill in the blanks. And fill in the blanks with 3 prepositions. As you will have 3 sentences given and 6 preposition options given, and then ask for questions of the sort and spot the error in the underlined part. All of that. Parents word list and the OG word list can be used for vocabulary preparation. In fact, if you go to your BRC course, there are lots of word lists. There are lots of word lists and quizzes around questions that are there. Those questions, those lists have been made from all the past year NMAT and SNAP questions and words that have been used in the exams only. If you thoroughly complete that word list, there is not going to be a new word that you come across in the exam. But of course, because the word list is around 3,500 words, it is highly unlikely we'll be able to complete that. So if you want a more condensed version, this will be around 800-ish words. This will be around, I don't know each word list, but parents word list is around 800 words. If you want a more condensed list, that is fine. But if possible, if you have the wherewithal and time available to go through the parents word list, that would be also fine. Okay, overall strategy. Devote time to topics that do not appear in the CAT. And by that we mean statement, strengthening, weakening, assumptions, or even simple things like data sufficiency, all of that. Test taking is the most important part of the preparation. You already have 15 marks. And I think how many sections? Significant number. Sorry, 20 mocks and 15 sections each present in your course. Now, within these 20 mocks, what I would want you to do is 10 are for trial. What I mean by trial is you have to first identify what order of sections you are most comfortable with. I prefer going down a certain path that I will talk to you later of, but you have to identify what order of sections you find the most comfortable. I'll tell you my reasoning for selecting my personal path, but 10 are for trial, 10 are actual, the ones that you genuinely have to as in take very seriously. Then 15 sectionals. This is for basically getting into the practice. Some of us will face trouble with completing the quant section. Some of us will face trouble with completing the VARC section, the language skills section. So there, these sectionals are supposed to be more for habit building. Don't start off with sectionals and then once my sectionals are done, then I will go to mocks. Mocks are the primary thing. Mocks are the primary thing. Once you've identified some error, once you've identified some pattern of mistakes that you make in mocks, only then move on to sections. Okay. Do not spend too much time on any questions, especially if you do not know the underlying concept or are not confident of your content. If you don't know the answer, mark something in one. There is no way that you will pray to God and Mata Saraswati will come and tell you Tathastu and all of a sudden you will know the answer. It is absolutely not going to happen. Mark some random answer, move on. NMAT is a test of speed. Ensure that you are able to go through all the questions of a section during the mocks. You have to build the habit of getting to the end. Getting to the end is absolutely important. Additionally, your CAT prep or mock performance doesn't indicate your NMAT score potential. Some people have a lucky day, some people have a good day, some people have a bad day, some people are very, very temperamental, some people are very calm and serene when they take a test. All of those things go into your test day performance. So while you may be, see, anyone who is scoring above, let's say, 70-ish percentile in mocks has a decent chance at cracking NMAT. Has a decent chance at decent chance. That does not necessarily mean you will definitely crack it, but you have a decent chance at cracking NMAT because it would boil down to what test day temperament you are carrying through in the exam. Now, the common questions that people ask that you should do, that we need to be aware of. When should you attempt the timeline? This year, previously, they used to allow you to attempt the paper from around 10th October all the way up until 20th December. But for this year, the attempt timeline, they have kept it as 5th November to 19th December. And what this boils down into, what this breaks it up into is, there are two separate portions in which you can attempt. We know, or hopefully by now we know, CAT is on 24th November. So should you be taking it prior to CAT? Should you be taking it after CAT? There are arguments for both. Prior to CAT, I would prefer taking it prior to CAT. One, because anytime I have a task, I would want to get done with it as quickly as possible and move on. Additionally, after CAT, remember, once this CAT exam is done, in the next portion, there is going to be SNAP exam. There is also going to be ZAT prep. And if you are appearing for, let's say, CMAT, TASE, or whatever other exams, you will have work for that also. So after CAT, I'm going to devote my time and energies to SNAP and ZAT. So if I get done with NMAT prior to CAT, it would be nicer for me. Then again, I am coming to this conclusion or I am coming to this decision making based on the idea that NMAT for me is, in terms of preparation for NMAT, I need to devote around, let's say, 15 days of prep time to NMAT if my CAT prep is on fleek. If everything that I'm doing for CAT prep is fine, 15 days for NMAT I need to devote. What I mean by 15 days is, in those 15 days, in the initial few days, I'll be taking a few mocks, finding out what section order I am most comfortable with. also while going through those books and identify what sort of questions I have trouble in, what sort of questions I do well in, and then take the exam and get done with it. So if I'm planning to take it, I would personally prefer taking it somewhere between 5th and 9th November. Get it done with instantly so that for the last 2 weeks prior to CAT, I can focus more on CAT related things. It's not like I take an attempt on 18th November and 19th November, because then switching my mind from NMAT based test taking to CAT based test taking will not be that easy. Then the argument against this is the argument for taking it in the latter half is, see, once CAT is done, or better or worse, CAT happens to be like the pinnacle of all the entrance exams when it comes to MBA entrances. So once CAT is done, I will be in a much better frame of mind. I can focus more, I can do lots more. So see, SNAP usually happens on second Sunday of December. Then on third Sunday of December, and either this Friday or this Friday. One Friday in between also there will be SNAP. So you can choose to perhaps take NMAT sometime around, let's say, 5th December, and then only choose to take the second and third attempt of SNAP. And this way you get time for your NMAT also, you get time for your SNAP also. And once this is done, then we come back to our ZAT based prep. If our quant is already sorted, for that, the only additional section we need to study for, we need to devote time and energy to, is decision making. Along with that, we can take mocks, we can prepare. So if you're attempting it prior to 24th November, my recommendation would be sometime between 5th to 9th November. If you're taking it after CAT, my recommendation would be sometime from 5th to 8th November. Sorry, 5th to 8th December. Get it done with and get it over with. Don't worry too much about it. As in, don't plan too hugely about what else I can do. Historically, NMAT also has done this. See, if NMIMS is not the only college you're targeting via NMAT, you're also targeting KG Somaya, and you're also targeting TAPNI and other colleges, the list of which I will come up with shortly. Then, in such cases, NMAT historically does this. After the 20 December window is over, they say we are extending the video due to increased demand. So in January, they will come up with a few days, and then you can attempt the NMAT exam then. So there is also a possibility, and even fresh registrations are allowed. But those people who take the exam in January are not eligible for NMIMS. NMIMS will not entertain those courses, only the other colleges that are accepting NMAT scores. So whether you choose to go down this path or this path, my personal preference is this, but somebody choosing to go down this path is also understandable. It will not be better. The second question is, what order should one take for attempting? See, there are 3 sections: LS, LR, US, LS, US, LR, LR, LS, US, LR, US, LS, and US, LS, LR, US, LR, and LS. Which order you should be getting at, which order you should be attending. Prior to the NMAT exam, you get to choose the order in which you attempt the 3 sections: the language skill section, the logical reasoning section, and the quantitative skill section. You get to pick and choose which order, the order in which you go ahead and attempt. Which order you end up selecting, my own personal recommendation to you would be, don't decide based on feelings and emotions. Decide based on you having taken a few tests and you see with different orders, how are you doing. If you're doing well, regardless of the order, then it doesn't really make a difference. But if there is a particular order in which you are doing well, but in some other order you are not doing well, then stick to that. My own personal preference is I choose to go down this path. This is my preferred order of doing things. This is on account of, see, because the NMAT exam, you cannot skip over a question. Some people finish early, some people finish late. Let's say I'm doing it very fast. I am doing it very fast, and although there are 40 minutes in the reasoning section, but I finish it around in 32 minutes. And then there are 52 minutes in the quant section, and I finish it around in 45 minutes. And now there is PA section. The time limit here is 28 minutes, but I finish it around in, but blah, blah, blah. Now, this is not just true for me. This could be true for other people as well. So I prefer to keep the language skills section. I prefer to keep the language skills section right at the end, because for me, out of the three sections, language skills section is the easiest section. I personally prefer the English section in any exam. English section I prefer. And out of the three, I dislike dislike the most out of the three. Not that I dislike it, but I dislike the most the logical reasoning section, because this requires a lot of brain work, especially with critical reasoning thrown in, and with a lot of, as in there are also arrangement based sets, there are also reasoning based sets. So I need my freshest mind to be available here, and I need my simplest section right at the end. Additionally, because people finish the test at different times, it may so happen that when I'm completing my logical skill section, there are people who have completed the test. Now, at some centers, they're very, very responsible. They don't let people get up. They don't let people move around. But in some centers, they're extremely, extremely non-cooperative and helpful. People start getting up, their chairs are moving, all sorts of sounds are being made. Everything that can potentially distract you starts happening. So I keep my preferred section here, right at the end. A lot of people choose to go down this path. This is the most famous order in which, this is the most common order in which people attempt the test. This is because this is on account of the fact that this order replicates CAT. A lot of us who would have taken mocks so far, we are accustomed to doing English first and then reasoning and then quant section. So a lot of people choose to go down this path. That is also fine. You can choose to go down any path. What order should you be taking? It should be based on experimentation. It should be based on you having taken a few tests and identifying what works for you, what doesn't work for you. This works for me. My reasons I have stated, but remember, those reasons may not necessarily be applicable to you. For you, maybe language skills is the section that requires a lot of attention. So you want to take it up first, and reasoning requires a very little attention. So you want to take it at the end. Or quant requires a lot of attention. You want to take up quant first. Maybe that is the reasoning. Or some of us have this tendency. At the beginning of the test, my brain is not all warmed up. So I want to take up the easy section first. By the time I'm entirely into the test taking mode where my brain is entirely functioning, at that time, I want to take the most difficult section. Whatever order you want to take it up in, that will be fine. Okay. Now, this one, what are the costs involved? This is a little tricky one. See, for the NMAT exam, the cost is 3,000 plus GST. So adds up to 3,540. Adds up to 3,540. Then this is the optional if you end up rescheduling or retaking. There will be 824, 2142 here. The additional cost of 2142. Once you book a date that you want to reschedule it, if you're retaking it, it will be another 3,540. Then there is going to be another fee for NMIMS college, which, if I remember correctly, was some 3,500-ish. I don't know this precise number because I register for the NMAT exam. I never register for the NMIMS college thing. So I will go through the NMIMS website right now in this discussion also. So maybe there is a cost component mentioned there, but 3,500-ish. But then this is not yet. If you end up securing a good enough NMAT score and you get a call from NMIMS college, there is also a interview fee, PI fee that they take. Which historically has been around 1,000 to 1,100. So the total cost involved for this entire thing, guaranteed total cost in case you are planning for this, 3,540 you have to give up. This 3,500 ish you have to give up, and this interview fee you have to give up. Rescheduling, retaking, this is an optional. In case you choose to go down this path, then this much cost will fall upon you. Otherwise, you can ignore it. This is all the costing that needs to be done. Okay. Now, where does NMIMS rank among top colleges? See, there are bands of good colleges. The absolute top tier would be something like A, B, C. Then the next band of colleges, good colleges, but not necessarily the best ones, would be L, XL, FMS, SPJ. Then the band below this would be MDI, Kozhikode, Indore, any other wonderful college that I can think of? Not really. So IFT. Then after this comes the new baby IIMs. This is the bracket in which I would place NMIMs. See, IIM Mumbai is a wonderful college, but it is a strange one. It is a strange one because if you're going for operations management in IIM Mumbai, or let's say at SPJ Song at IIT Bombay, then you're going for an excellent course. You're going for an excellent course. But if you're going for any other specialization at that college, then you fall down to new baby IIM's realm itself. Very much like this, if you're going to HR, if you're going to taste for HR, you are in the new baby IIM's NMIMS. Let's see here, you would also have something like IMT, the like. So if you're going for taste HR, you are doing excellently well. Perhaps you would, in fact, I would put it even further, MDI, K, or IFT, that level. But if you're going to taste for any other course, it would be even lower than new baby IIM. So placing IIM Mumbai in some location is sort of challenging. Even within this, let's say baby IIMs would rank lower than NMIMS. Some new IIMs would rank better than NMIMS. IMT and NMIMS are fairly equivalent. So this is the range. This is my own perception of what NMIMS is. Now you may have friends and you may have seniors and you may have people who have gone to these colleges. You can talk to them, see what sort of opportunities are available. If the average pay package offered there is something that resonates with you and it is something that you find acceptable, lots of factors you would need to consider. But in my reckoning, this is like the 2K of these schools that you would need to take care of. Where NMIMS ranks among them, I'm giving you that idea. Okay. Then last one, what are the B schools apart from NMIMS except NMAT score? See, lots of B schools too. When we go through the form right now, you'll also see that there is KJ Somaya, there is Tapki, there is XIM Bhubaneswar, XIM University Bhubaneswar, and there is also SPJ. And there is also ISB. And once you look at this list, it looks like, oh, SPJ and ISB. These are excellent schools. Extremely, extremely great schools. But be a little more informed. See, KJ Somaya, all courses, it accepts NMAT. TAPI for all courses, it accepts NMAT. XIM only accepts the NMAT score for HR course, only for the HR. SPGen only does it for the GMP program. ISP only does it for the analytics course. See, just because it says SPGen, don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, SPGen is taking uh, NMAT course. It is only for the GMP program, which is not their flagship program. See, a lot of B schools, understand this, a lot of B schools have their flagship courses, which are the standard bearers. Everything that happens there is excellent. But in a lot of, so they also run a lot of parallel courses, which are supposed to be revenue generators. In these courses, all they do is they take in a lot of students. There is also a family business course where the admission in SPGen and ISP, both of them run family business courses, wherein the admission criteria is not your entrance exam score, but it is based on the net revenue or the financial statements of your family business. So even if you get like a 40 percentile, but if your family business is doing well, there is a lot of PAT, then you might end up securing admission in those courses. While you will get the brand name of SPGen alumni, the course is not that great. So the primary B school that you're applying is NMIMS Mumbai. And after that, the other places, KJ Somaya Tapni are the best ones. XIMP, HR wise, this is like the next tier of HRB schools. HRB schools wise, you have Accelera is the best. MDI and TIS is close second. Then you have MDI HR. And then there is the next stand wherein you have XI, MBHR, you have DSC HR, you have IM Rachi HR. All of these come in the next band. MDI HR and TIS HR and Accelera are the top band. Anyway, now looking at now, before we look at the form, will take a pause and then we'll come back. Okay, so let us now look at this is the handout for admission NMAT 2025, admission in the cycle. After you take NMAT, this will be the handout that you should be looking at. It's an information about the admission. The MBA core program, 600 seats are available by campus. Then there is HR course here, business analytics, digital transformation, pharmaceutical management. For pharmaceutical management, only people who have done some sort of medical undergraduate degree, they will be eligible. For every other course, every graduate is available. Then you have Bengaluru, you have Hyderabad, you have Navi Mumbai, you have Indore. These many seats are available. 30% of the seats in MBA programs of NMIMS will be offered to female candidates. So for female candidates, the cutoffs that they have to endure, or the scores that they need to get, it will be lower. As in, it's not like the score will be lower. It is just that in the next round, the cutoffs will be identical, but in the next round, the final selection round, they are going to give greater weightage to female candidates. The top 30% of the seats will be allotted to female candidates. After that, whoever is left over, then it will be given out to your plans. Steps need to be followed. You need to go register at NMAC by GMAC website. I will get to that page right now. Then you also need to come to the NMIMS website and register here. Registration with NMIMS before your scheduled exam is mandatory for any NMIMS program. For instance, if your exam is scheduled on 9th October 2024, a candidate must register before 8th October 2024. So prior to you attempting the test, you must have registered for NMIMS as a college if this is a college that you're targeting. The candidate has to give program preference in NMIMS registration form. The final program preference will be taken after the shortlisting in stage 2, so on and so forth. Okay. No GST. Okay, registration fee is not 3,500. It is 2,800 only. Now see, while this instruction here talks of if your exam is scheduled on 9th October 2024, you must register before 8th October 2024. And the NMIMS application window is only from 1st August to 10th October. The exam delivery date starts only on 5th November, but you have to make sure that you apply to NMIMS by 10th October. NMIMS only accepts the score of the first NMAT examination attempted by the candidate. Retake scores are not accepted by NMIMS. Then the different courses, what for the different different eligibility criteria for different courses, you can go on check if this is applicable to you or not. There was also all these instructions you can read. This is available on their website. You can go to their website and check. Okay. Work experience instruction. Work experience of candidate after completion of graduation will be considered and not during the period of study. It is only paid full-time work that gets considered. If you're doing an internship somewhere, if you're doing a part-time job somewhere, if you're let's say coaching in your home, that will not be counted. Candidate work experience gained through family business or self-employment will not be considered. They will not consider if you're doing family business or self-employment to the extent that marks are awarded for it in the second stage. But in the interview stage, of course, you can talk of family business, self-employment. All those things can be talked of. Work experience wherein salary paid in cash will not be considered. It has to be paid into your bank account. Paid in cash will not be considered. Training, internship, apprenticeship will not be considered. Candidate work experience document will be verified by a third party, and if found incorrect and insufficient, the candidate would be placed out of the admission process. Your candidature will be cancelled if there is any discrepancy found in the data that you provide. Undertaking regarding work experience will be submitted by the candidate, and the second stage of selection will be provided later. Now, selection process, what all is involved? First stage is you're taking the NMAT exam. Then the score of NMAT by GMAT test for all NMIMS applicants will be submitted by GMAT to NMIMS. Shortlisting based on NMAT sectional and total score only for candidates applying to any of the NMIMS programs. If you're not applying to NMIMS programs, people like me, you are not applying to NMIMS program, our score will not go there. NMIMS conducts and organizes second stage of selection process for the shortlisted candidates. There could be a psychometric test, written aptitude test, personal interview, all sorts of wonderful things. Details will be informed subsequently. Last year, they had a Watson-Glaser test, a psychometric test of sorts that reveals, or at least purports to reveal aspects of your personality. The selection process is done in person. Call letter will be declared on candidate's dashboard. Call letters will neither be emailed nor be sent by post. The final merit list. This is important to note because this means you have to come back and check your dashboard frequently. It's not like they will reach out to you and tell you, oh, you have been shortlisted. Okay. The final merit list will be based on the marks obtained by candidate in NMAT, personal interview, VAT, psychometric test, work experience, and past academic performance. The weightage of these different criteria is not given, but historically, back in the day when weightages were available, NMAT by GMAT score ended up being 70% of the selection criteria. So you have to do very well in the exam. The selection criteria will be based on merit only. The decision regarding the cutoff of merit list is solely the NMIMS. Why they have to do this, or even if you go to their website, yes, go to their website. You can see this at NMIMS, admissions are based on past academic records, accomplishment in the field of sports, arts, and relevant admission test scores. All admissions are merit-based. No admission is based on capitation. No intermediary, no agent network. Why they have to specify this over and over again is because sometime around 2011-12, there was a scandal of sorts. In one class, a teacher was teaching, and he asked a question. He asked a question of a kid. The kid answered it very, very incorrectly, absolutely out of this world incorrectly. And the teacher asked, how did you manage to secure admission? He said, management quota. The teacher was smart, then asked, how many of you in this classroom are from management quota? And then roughly 40% of the class raised their hand, said, we are from management quota. And then what happened was the teacher said, okay, we don't have management quota in this college at all. So all of you have been scammed in some capacity. Then there was investigation, and then There was even a Savdhan India episode made around this. What was happening was all this data, applicant data was going to the computer lab technician in NMIMS, and this fellow had his own mafia running. And prior to your test day, he changed the photos. There were particular solvers available at other places. This solver's photo was put. This person went in, took the exam on your behalf. He came back. You got an excellent score, everything, and then you went in for the interview stage and everything. So there were different sorts of options available. Either somebody could take exam on your behalf, and somebody could take interview on your behalf, or somebody could only take exam on your behalf, and you had to take your own interview. Of course, different pricing models were also available. So lots of people did this, and then this person got caught. He was absconding. He was charging lots of money from people. So there was an episode in Southern India based around this storyline. So ever since then, NMIMS has been very, very active in mentioning there are no management quota seats, there are no capitation seats, nothing of that sort is entertained here. Yet rumors abound that such practices are still in play. In case you are a very, very rich person, and you feel like, oh, this path also I can take to go to B school, I would rather say if you have that much, see, if you have that much money, would much rather have you much rather invest your time in study or go do a business. Don't do something that will get you caught, and then understand the people who got caught, their fees isn't returned. Their admission is cancelled, their fees is confiscated. So you will lose out on a lot of money and not really get the outcome that you desire. Not really, not great. Then the documents required at the time of admission, scanned copies only. 10th mark sheet, 12th mark sheet, passing certificate, degree mark sheet, degree certificate, provisional degree certificate for people. If a degree certificate is not available, if you're graduating only in 2024, then a provisional degree certificate. Post-graduation degrees, if you have done post-graduation. AIU certificate, I don't know what this is. Migration certificate, eligibility certificate if required, RANBA, work experience certificate, medical fitness certificate, medical aid policy. Again, this is like jumping the gun. Once you secure admission, you will get to know of this. Kindly keep below details available before ABCID, Academic Bank of Credits, and anti-ragging reference number. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what this is. Maybe people who will be, as in, once you secure admission, you will need to submit the scanned copies for these. Original documents will be required for verification before program commencement, and they will be asked of you at a stipulated date. It is the sole responsibility of the candidate to check whether they are eligible for the respective program as per the eligibility criteria. So let's say if according to the eligibility criteria for pharmaceutical, if you've done pharmacy or you've done BHMS, BAMS, biochemistry, biotechnology, MBBS, microbiology, then you're eligible. If you've done, let's say, maths honors and you apply for pharmaceutical management, then your fees is confiscated, your fees is not returned, but you are declared ineligible, your candidature will not be considered. It is the sole responsibility of the candidate to see whether you are eligible or not. Candidates are advised to visit the NMIMS website to know the details of various steps of selection process. All communication to the candidates will be through NMIMS website and dashboard only. There will not be any emails or physical inside. Fees for 2025-26, the admission cycle that you'll be joining for, I don't know, it will be included in the offer letter. Right now, the number is not good. For last year, for the core program, the first installment was 12,50,000. For pharmaceutical, it was 8 lakhs. Remember, this is 1 year fee. So historically, NMIMS increases its fees per year by 50,000 to 1 lakh every year. So if it is 12,50,000 for first year, even if I take 30 lakhs, it is around 25.5 lakhs would be the fees for the MBA or program at NMIMS, the most desired program. Refund of fees in case of withdrawal or cancellation of admission. Refund rules are present on their website. You can check. Again, this is all jumping the gun. We'll only worry about this once we secure admission. If at any stage it is found that candidate does not satisfy the eligibility criteria, the registration fee is not refundable. Everything will be, fees will be forfeited. Your fees will not be curtailed. All matters of dispute will be subject to the jurisdiction of Mumbai only. There is no management quota in NMIMS Mumbai programs. NMIMS for MBA programs. If you receive any email, SMS related to it, consider it fraudulent. Beware of such activities and do not engage in any monetary transactions. If you give up money, it is your responsibility. We don't care. For NMIMS, application start date is 1st August. Application date is 10th October. If you are planning to apply to NMIMS, please make sure you've done it. I would recommend you do it early. Don't wait for the last dates, because on the last date, the servers may crash, things may not run smoothly, your own bank may have some issues. So if you get it done early, you will lose out on potentially 2-3 rupees in interest that your money could have earned while lying in the bank account. But you will at least have peace of mind, and peace of mind is worth more than 2 rupees. And here, NMIMS reserves the right to make any change in dates mentioned above. Now, see, second stage of selection process, NMIMS, although they've not mentioned it in the document, usually the timeline that they follow is by around, in case there is no subsequent NMAT window, or even if there is, they will announce your interview date sometime around 24 to 30 January. And then interviews would happen from 3rd January up until, 3rd February up until 15th February. The interview takes place on NMIMS campus. So you would have to book a flight, pay that interview fee, and go to NMIMS campus. All those processes would take place. And they also come out with the list by 25th to 28th February. And then the fees payment, the first installment, 12.5 lakhs last year, you have to pay by 10th March. And in case you have to pay by 10th March. So they do their process very, very quickly of all the B schools. They are usually the first ones who come out with the final result and fees submission deadline, everything happens very, very quickly at NMIMS. Okay, contact information is given here. This is the last page. This is it. This is NMIMS admission document. Every information that you potentially need will be present within this document. You can get this from their website itself. Admissions, you go here. And try now, online application form. This is how you log in. But you can only log in here once you paid your NMAT by GMAT ID and everything. Now for this, I have completed my form, but because I wanted to show you all the details, I don't know if all those details would be available once I'm done. I will log in first. Okay, I've logged in now. On the NMAT, nmat.org page, it will bring you here. The important dates that you must be aware of and should keep track of are these. The August 1 registration has already started. Registration ends on October 10. Scheduling, you get to schedule the date on which you take the exam. That also starts on August 1. On October 14, the scheduling ends. Exam delivery, you can start taking your exam only from November 5th, and that is why it was a huge bone of contention when you should be taking your exam in prior to CAT or after CAT. And then the last day for taking the exam is December 20th. Everything after this is simply Hawabaji. Is absolutely Hawabaji. So coming to my form, I've already filled it in entirety. This I will try this thing. I'm coming to the first page itself, personal information. We have our everything here. My name, my date of birth, everything. You have to upload your photo here. The file size for the photo upload is 1 MB. And in case your file size is greater than that, please make sure you use one of the online tools available that enables you to reduce your file size. A fairly easy tool. Then you have to give parent details, blah, blah, blah. Even on, then these are the contact details, blah, blah, blah. On. Then you have your highest educational qualification. If you've done masters, if you've done a dual degree, even then put in master's degree. attained a master's degree. If you've only done graduation, put completed graduation. Then undergraduate degree, whatever country you have done it from, you put it down here. Undergraduate university, you can put down whichever university you're from. You also have this data. In case you do not find your college university name in the list, kindly select other option and fill in the details. So in case your university is not here, you can put in other, and then they will ask you what is the name of your university. You can put it up. But make sure you have checked for your college very well. You don't end up using acronyms, fancy acronyms that you are only aware of. Let's say Shri Ram College of Commerce. This was my graduation college. But it is not present. So I will do SRCC. No. No, not here. Oh, first thing I have to select is university. No, city. University of Delhi. University of Delhi. Selected. Then Sri Ram. Sri Ram. Not here. Sri Ram College for Women. No, my college was not for women. It was a co-ed college. I can't find it. So what I'll do is put down others. Then I will write Sri Ram College of whatever you want to put down. See why it doesn't. This is not a huge factor. Let's say even if you end up making a mistake here, you University of Agricultural Sciences, Harvard, this, that, blah, 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 whatever you end up doing, doesn't make a huge difference. Even if you can't find it, despite it being present there, you end up making a mistake, you can't find it. Remember, this is not a data point. As in, this is not a numeric data point. Numeric data points are important. These can be corrected at a later point of time. But your graduation percentage that you've got, or your 10th score that you've got, or your 12th score that you've got, that cannot be changed. And they are utilized at the time of giving calls, not in NMIMS, even for CAT. So you can happily do whatever you want here. I am going for IIT Delhi. Institute of IIT, Institute of Indian Institute of Technology. Delhi. But Delhi. IIT Delhi because I like IIT Delhi. And every year I prefer going on the route of applying via IIT Delhi where I am. So I selected engineering. I can select whatever course depending upon what course I select. They will ask for my bachelor's degree. If I go for hospitality, they will ask me for this. If I go for journalism, they will ask me for this. I am doing engineering for this year. I will go BTech. Here I will go leather technology, industrial humanities, whatever course you want to go for. I want to be computer science specialization, rather engineering graduate. I am giving in random data points. It doesn't matter whether it doesn't matter for me because I am not seeking admission into NMIMS. You are seeking admission into NMIMS. Please make sure you're putting the correct data. Then my graduation got completed in 2010. You can give it CGP out of 10, 9, 8, 7, 4. They're not asking for a conversion, whatever you're getting. Putting down 50. I'm putting down 50 because this is the minimum score after which I'm eligible to appear for the exam. If it was lower than 50, they wouldn't allow me to appear. If you do have work experience, then you have to put down stuff here. Type of engagement, whether it is employee, entrepreneur, or self-employed. Employee is fine. You have an organization letter and everything. entrepreneur would only be entertained if you have registration documents available for the business that you set up. Either GST corporation documents or GST documents, all of that will be needed. Self-employed will not be considered work-ex. We had seen that in the admission handout. It's like self-employed and salary paid in cash. This will not be entertained for work experience. So then you can put down the sector, whether it is public, private, not for profit, how many years of work experience, how many months of work experience. Let's say if you have 1 year, 1 month, and 2 days, then put down 1 year, 1 month. Which industries best reflect your experience? You can put down up to 3 industries here, current or last organization. Here, I don't want to fill in all these details. These are unnecessary burden for me. I am choosing no, but you should go ahead and pick whatever is accurate for you. Then the next question is on which B schools can you apply to? See, you can apply to 5 B schools. You can apply up to 5 B schools. Here, free choice is allowed 5. So, going ahead, it down. KJ Somaya is a B school that you can apply to. There is Pi, Tapi, then there is IM University, Bhubaneswar, then there is Jain, SP Jain. But for SP Jain, you can only apply to their GMP program, which is not the flagship program. Then finally, you also have ISB. Sorry, not ISB. So, Beyond School of Business. They have an analytics program. They have an analytics program that you can apply to. These are all the Indian B schools. There are 51 B schools from India, 10 from South Africa, 8 from Philippines, and Nigeria, 1 from Hungary, and 1 from Morocco. And then Modi University only takes female candidates. These are all the respectable B schools in the list. You can choose to apply to them, you can choose not to apply to them. You have to necessarily apply to one. You cannot move forward without choosing one out of this lot. And for KJ Somaya, for all courses, it is valid. For TAPNI, for all courses, valid. For XIM, only for the HR course. For SPJN, only for the GM course. For ISB, only for the business analytics course. I don't want to have all these schools contacting me for admission, so I'm getting rid of them from the list. But of course, you can pick and choose whether you want to have them in the list or not. Okay. Then we move on. School preference is done. Then how did you learn about NMAT by GMAT? You put down the coaching center. You can put down multiple options. Digital ads, where did you get it from? The more details you put down, the more questions they will start popping up. We'll go other, so on and so forth. So I put best thing to do would be friends and relatives. You don't have to put down anything at all. I like putting down my coaching center name. So I'm leaving it there. If you put down friends and relatives, nothing will be asked. Or if you put down billboards, nothing will be asked. When do you plan to start your management program? I've put down June 2025 because that is when the NMIMS batch starts. And then other exams that you are planning to take, you can be truthful and mark all these options, whichever ones you're taking. IFT is no longer an exam, but okay. You can be truthful and mark whatever options you want to mark here. Or you can leave it be. Any data point that is not absolutely needed, try not to fill it up, it is unnecessary. Then, how are you financing your management program? There are options: bank loans, personal savings, support from parents, scholarship, others. I don't know why B school needs to know this, but they're asking you this, and this is a compulsory question. This is most likely data being called of financiers who will contact you once you secure admission. Okay. Then where would you like to study? Select up to 3 countries. You have to select at least 1 country. So India is the most default country available here. You select India. If there are other countries that you want to put down here, you can. It doesn't cost you anything, but it doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things. Are you in any way associated with helping candidates prepare for any management education exam? If you put down yes, they will ask for the name of the company. If you put down no, they don't ask for anything. So I put down no. Although it is not accurate, but then again, if accuracy was the target, I would be from IIT Delhi anyway. Okay. Next. I agree, my name, today's date, everything is fine. Then I get to preview. Or down, I keep on going down. Then I submit and make payment. After I submit and make the payment, I get to pick the date on which I take the exam. So I will make the payment right now. Let me pause. So I have made my payment. Now I have made my payment. Everything is done there. I can come back and add more preferences here. I can add more these schools that I want my scores sent to. So even if I want to send it to, let's say, XIM University at a later point of time, that is available. Now I will go through the process of scheduling my exam. Book exam slot. How would you like to take your NMAT by GMAT? This is a surprise. Only test center is available. At home tests are not available this time. Absolutely wonderful. Now you can click here to view guidelines. Let us do that. Location of test centers. FAQs for more examination information. So wonderful thing. I am going to read through all this. Exam centers at India. You will need your admit card. You will need your photo ID. Bring one valid photo ID in original form mentioned in the ID requirements list for candidates. Remember when they're saying photo ID, when they're saying photo ID, do not bring a photocopy of your PAN card. Do not bring a photocopy of your voter ID card. Original ID is needed. If you don't bring original ID, they will not let you enter the exam hall. Please make sure you bring your original photo ID. Any other documents advised? Okay. Then 87 exam centers. What an absolute nonsense of list. This is an absolute nonsense list. Why this is an absolute nonsense list is Delhi has test centers. I have that information. Where exactly within Delhi is it available? That would be more important to know, no? But okay. And then welcome to our help FAQs about the exam. Managing my NMAT results, this and this. Absolutely nothing. So I'm moving on. Submit. Exam slot booking page has come up November 5 to December 22. Although the page says December 20, this is going up till December 22. Policies, if you want to read, you can. Past exams, I don't want to show you. First, there are no past exams, so then refreshed all that data because this is the same account I used last year. Proceed. The things that we need to carry to the exam. You will be required to carry printout of this admit card or the admit card that you will be given on one valid photo ID. Valid photo ID can be passport or PAN card or voter ID card or UID. Nothing else is valid. And the photo ID card must contain your name and your photo. Must contain your name and your photo. For candidates testing outside India, an original non-expired passport is only acceptable form of identification for the test. In case there is somebody among us who is very, very famous, I agree for all exams. Okay, now I am picking dates. November 1 को कुछ है नहीं. I choose city first. So Delhi. I'm not moving out of Delhi for this. Choose test center. I'll have to identify which of these is closest to me. 110044. Badarpur, South Delhi. Okay. 78. This is West Delhi, Dwarka. Okay. 30. This is also South Delhi. So doesn't really matter. They should have given some sort of address, no? They should have given some sort of address. But okay. Dwarka or South Delhi? Let me pick this first one only. Now, for the earliest slot available is 12 p.m. on 5th November. There are 9 a.m. on 6th November. These are the slots available. these are the slots available where I can go on to give it. So let me see if on other centers I can give it earlier. यहाँ तो फिफ्थ को डेट ही नहीं है और यहाँ पे भी फिफ्थ को डेट ही नहीं है, यही है बेस्ट। मेरे को अर्लीस्ट देना, आई वांट टू टेक द फर्स्ट रिक्वायर्ड वैल्यूज, व्हाट ऑल डू आई हैव टू सेलेक्ट। अच्छा, एग्जाम्स को शेड्यूल, what required value do I have to put in? I am comfortable with all dates. Or please book a slot. Please select the required value. How do I book a required value? What other required value are you seeking from me? Oh, yes. Now, now I can. Okay. First, you have to click on this NMAT by GMAT. Then you have to click confirm. Then you have to wait. Then you can confirm. And my date and slot has been booked. Turn to dashboard. Print confirmation mail. Return to dashboard. Admission policy again. You have to bring one of these photo ID cards. I have booked my slot for November 5, 12 p.m. I return to my dashboard and my entire thing for this is done. Pay reschedule fee. Acha, 1200. This is 1416. 1200 plus 1416. I don't want to pay reschedule fees. All possible information points that you might need, I've done. And acha, please don't pay extra money for this NMAT by GMAT book. One, the book is not worthwhile. The book is absolutely not worthwhile. And then you also get one free practice exam. See, this book is not worthwhile, and these two additional exams are also not worthwhile. This one practice exam is available here. Anytime you want to take this test, you can. You can happily attempt this test whenever you want to. This is like a free mock. But then, historically, for the last 2-3 years, the test that is available here versus the test that comes for actual NMAT, this is much easier. This is much easier. The questions are far more straightforward. There, the questions are more convoluted. So don't think that this is a fair reflection of what the exam is going to be. And I think that should be everything. Oh, you can preview slot availability. Proceed slot availability. So slot availability you can check from here also. Daily, choose test center. I had chosen this. These all slots are available. These slots are available for Delhi. If you want to check it for Mumbai, let's say PWD friendly center. I want to check it for this. Nothing. Where is this? 11. Nothing is available for this month. The earliest it is available on. Oh, this still on dashboard. See, there is this. Once you click on slot availability, you come here. You can put down whatever city you want to check it in. What all centers are available? Just one center. These are the slots available there. Or if you want to check it for Sonipat, it is not available in Sonipat. So, Gurgaon, not available in Gurgaon. Noida, yes, it is available in Noida. So just one center in Noida. These are the slots available Saturday, Sunday only in Noida. Or if you want to do it for any other city, let's say Lucknow. This is the only center in Lucknow. So you can happily select beforehand can happily select beforehand which center you are going to, or which slots are available at what place. So, and that will be all for NMAT related information. If you have any more questions, you can ask later on. I think today's work is done. That will be all. See, have fun. Okay, bye. Yes, Caesar.
So can